Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Dr. Chow's YouTube channel. This afternoon, I'm inviting our high school seniors who graduated from Howard County Public School System, and I want them to share their experience and share their feedback with our incoming high school students. I wish this channel will provide this opportunity to help our high school students. So this afternoon, we're inviting Jessica Boo, who graduated from Howard County Public School System, River Hill High School in 2019. Now she's attending New York University and major in economics. Welcome, Jessica. Can you have a self-introduction?
Yeah, thanks for having me. So my name is Jessica Bill. I'm currently a rising sophomore at NYU studying finance and management with a minor in production. I transferred into Howard County Public School Systems my freshman year. So I've been there around probably like 3.5 years. So yeah.
Okay, so what's your second major, like minor production?
Yeah, so I'm currently trying to minor in production. So
What's that? What's the production? I never heard about that.
Sorry, film production actually.
Okay.
So it's basically learning the business about movies, how movies even happen, and getting to know the backside of that.
I see. So have you ever made any movies available for people to just
I haven't yet, but that is one thing I would love to do. Currently like in the projects to make movies. I made them when I was younger, but not in high school. Never got the chance to. But currently in college, it's something I wanted to explore because I've always wanted to do the movie side of business, or the business side of movies really. So yeah.
Okay, great. I'm looking forward to that. Okay, my first question for you. In your high school senior year, what was your most difficult challenge you're facing, and how do you overcome that?
So senior year, I obviously faced the college application process. That was a huge challenge. But one of the more important challenges that actually came was one of my friends died in January of my senior year. And so that to me was like a big hit. It was one of my friends. I had known him, but he was also on the track team. So that took a really big hit to me. And it was one of those things where like it made me realize to cherish the people I had around me. It was a really, really big thing for me to overcome. It kind of changed my perspective on life a little bit. And in some ways I'm still like overcoming it, but it's also like at that moment, it was a lot for me. And it was the second half of my senior year. So that kind of like, from that point on, it was kind of like I made sure to basically check in on everyone I knew, kind of like try to find signs about more mental health, try to look into that more a lot, and just kind of like make sure everyone around me knew they were valued, I valued them, and just to ensure that everyone around me was feeling like they at least like were in a way, or at least I could at least check in for them and make sure that they knew I was there for them.
I'm sorry to hear that. I think I heard about that tragic 2 years ago or last year, right?
I think it's 2 years, like
2 years ago. Yes. Yes, I think that tragedy really hit the community. People paid more attention to about the mental health of our students. Yeah, I feel really sorry for you. I hope now you're feeling much better, overcome the difficult period of time.
Yeah, it's like stuff like that that kind of makes you like kind of step out a little bit and kind of look at the world in a bigger picture. That yes, there are so many other challenges you have too, but then there are other challenges that affect. There's not just one category of challenges. There's just multiple things that kind of affect everyone, and it's not just like black and white. There's just so many things that affect a certain person.
I see. So during your 4 years in high school, what was your biggest challenge, and how do you overcome them?
My biggest challenge, so because I was actually a transfer student, so for me was basically adjusting to everything. Howard County, obviously the curriculum was a lot tougher than my original place. So that obviously took a lot more studying for me to do. On top of that, making friends. Luckily, I honestly was able to assimilate really, really well. I absolutely thank my parents so much for helping me make the move. I appreciate it so much because being at River Hill helped me with so many things, academically, but also just socially and for personal development reasons. So, yeah.
So where did you transfer from?
I transferred from Anne Arundel County, actually.
So it's neighboring counties.
It's a neighboring county, yeah.
Okay, so you feel like Howard County provides something different from?
Yeah, a lot different. It was a lot, in terms of academics, it was a lot more rigorous too. But the people I met here too, like all my friends and everything, they're a lot more different from my friends back there. And they kind of opened me to this more kind of like diverse set of ideas and everything, and opened my eyes to, and basically I'm still friends with them now. So it was really, really great just to have like a lifelong relationship with them, basically.
I see. I'm glad you enjoyed your new experience in Howard public school system. Great. So in your high school, which academics you feel so unique and you want to share? And there's so many academics, right? So which subject or which class you feel so unique?
I feel like one of the most unique things to me, honestly, to happen was like the music program. So I was actually in choir. And weirdly enough, you don't really think, typically on the surface, people don't think you really learn stuff in there. But there I learned a lot of things, and how it tied. The best thing about all my studies was, for some reason, I would just go through my day, through the year, through the curriculum, but then somehow see each class tie in together with the other. So even something like choir, I would be like, wait a minute, I learned something like this in like my English class, and be able to tie things together. And just, even though my teachers didn't know each other, I just love that everything in some way connected and made sense. And so it, in a way, made me feel more like motivated to do these other classes because they all coincided. Another unique experience was definitely like being able to have like FBLA. So I was in a class called Business Design and Development. And that basically kind of helped me cultivate my interest towards business, because not only did I get to compete outside of school, so I wrote up business proposals, did case studies through FBLA, but in that class I was able to basically, in a way, our organization was really student run, so in that class we not only learned like business things, so I learned accounting in that class, but we were also just kind of like learn how a business runs in that way. And so it taught me a lot of responsibility, but just a lot of like real life situations.
I see. So maybe FBLA was the one reason you chose economics as your major at the university?
Yeah, it definitely helped influence a lot, just because I realized it was something I was really passionate about and I was good at. So from there I was like, oh, business is something I think I'm pretty good at. And then going to university obviously helped me navigate which concentration. So like right now I'm doing finance and management. But that definitely cultivated the interest, because we have like the core subject, which is like history, English, math, and science. But there are other majors in like college that kind of you don't really get much experience in. So being able to do FBLA helped me dip my toes. And I was like, wait, I like this. So I kind of went ahead with it.
I see. Okay, thank you. I think I want to go back to the point you said music class, right? And choir. I think there's a word that says music is the common language of human beings, right? Probably that kind of build a channel for you to cross-learning different subjects.
Oh, yeah.
I see. So right now, because the mobile devices and the internet and mobile apps is kind of very prevalent in every domain in the student's life, right? In the home, in school, even on the school bus, right? Then cyberbullying will be a topic people talk about a lot. I just wonder whether you experienced that in high school. If not, did you hear about anything about that with your friends? How did they overcome that?
Yeah. Personally, I think there's a lot of things on social media that are very toxic to other people. There's like whole images on social media that people craft. And for me, although I didn't really get cyberbullied, I kind of noticed that there's like the toxicity of the internet, how much it can do to people, how you compare yourself to other people. And for me, I've been just trying to like take social media cleanses and just kind of be able to like realize that's very superficial. And in terms of cyberbullying, it's kind of like realizing that you're not alone. You're not the only, yes, you feel very alone because you are the one on the internet, but then again, someone else is on another face of the screen. That is someone who doesn't have the guts to come talk to you. But then again, you're not the only person out there that is being attacked or like cyberbullied on the internet. There are so many people who are going through the same things like you, and there are so many ways to help. Just like by reaching out to your friends, first and foremost. I had a few friends who were cyberbullied, and the first thing they did was come to the other friends, basically being like, what should I do? And for me, a lot of the times I was just like, oh, you know, it's a really tough subject because you wanna like fight back or some way, but it's also not worth it because these are just words on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, it's someone's opinion, and honestly, people try to get a reaction out of people, and it's not worth it to give them your time of day. And it's remembering that, okay, if you made a mistake on the internet too, it's like there's you just want to learn from it. You just want to learn and grow from it.
I see. So I think your advice, first, you don't take too seriously about the internet, right? Or the mobile apps or your words on the internet or people's reaction. And at the same time, if you feel threatened or bullied, seek help from your friends and maybe other resources.
And then just make sure, you have people around you. You surround yourself with good people in a way.
I see. I think I just want to remind our listeners that the Howard County Public School System had a hotline channel about bullying. If you ever feel cyberbullied, so try to report the school system. We have a very robust channel and a framework to deal with that. I hope our students, when you feel that, just try to be sure to seek help. So let's go back to the extracurricular activities. So which one you really put a lot of emphasis or focus on that?
So I was involved in a lot of things at school. So I obviously did FBLA and DECA. That was two of like my business competitions. I managed for the cross country and track and field team. I dabbled a little bit in sports in the beginning of high school, but slowly realized I wasn't very good at coordination or spatial awareness. And then I was in choir. I joined an a cappella group. And I was also involved in the Student Government Association. I was treasurer for that.
I saw your name on the school, the wall.
Yeah, it was very fun. Yeah.
I see. So do you have any advice for high school students? And for example, maybe when you entered high school or when you transferred to the Howard County Public School System, your parents may give you some advice, or maybe your friends give you some advice. So which advice you feel is so important for our incoming high school students?
I've learned a few pieces of advice that I still honestly seek to follow this day. Definitely the first one was seek your passions. A lot of it is just like being able to just experiment with things. If you're interested in it, go for it, because ultimately, and a lot of the times you kind of feel alone when you kind of seek your passions because you want to go with what your friends are doing and everything. But in the end, as long as you're happy, and there's no one that can tell you that you're not successful in a way, because honestly, to you, as long as you're successful and you're happy, that's all that matters.
So simple and straight.
Yeah, basically. So like following your passions, and it honestly speaks so much volume too. When you're especially when it, like honestly applying to colleges too, because I know a lot of kids think about, oh, how am I going to make myself look the best for colleges? Just honestly, just speak about what you're passionate about. Do things that you're passionate about, because the more you get into it, the more you can tell people why are you doing this? What does it speak to you? What does it mean to you? As long as you tell other people and then go from there, that honestly speaks so much. And another thing I've learned is in life, especially with high school and college, there's no linear path at all. There's going to be a lot of trial and error. There's going to be times where you feel really low, times where you feel really high. And it's honestly, it's going to be a whole bunch of things coming at your way. And it's honestly just being able to overcome them and just move on to the next challenge.
I see. I like the idea. Life is not linear, right? I think people shouldn't think about, or students shouldn't think about the college as the end destination.
Exactly. Right? There's so much more.
Yeah, so just try to grow yourself, learn yourself, and you will find a university you love, right? Then eventually you will be something you never know in the future, right? So because there's so many ways you can grow yourself, and there's so many careers opportunities in front of you, as long as you pursue your dreams or put your passion there.
Exactly. And it's like finding a piece of who you are first definitely helps lead you to better decisions in life. If you focus on yourself and not focus on others, because honestly in high school, there's a whole bunch of peer pressure. Everyone wants to get into the top colleges, everyone wants this and that. But if you take a step back and remove yourself from that situation, what do you want? What's going to make you happy? And what's going to make you live a better life?
I see. Thanks
So,
for sharing that. I hope that it be useful for our parents as well. Because sometimes parents try to help their children, and sometimes they put their own kind of expectation on their children, and usually I think that expectation has sometimes put too much pressure on the children, right? Instead, let the children figure it out. Sometimes the parents just sit aside and offer the help when needed. But in most cases, I think the children eventually will find their own path.
Exactly. It's all about, and at that point too, it's all about open communication, because a lot of times parents want what's best for the kids. And as long as you're able to communicate with your parents and be like, this is what I want to do and this is why, I think that's so important. It speaks so much volume there too.
I see. So the parents need to respect the children's choice as well. That's important. I see. Okay, let's go back to the college, right? Now you're almost finished, or you're going to the second year, right?
Yeah.
So you finished the first year in college. How do you like it? What's the unique experience you feel is different from your expectation when you were in high school?
So obviously being back home, I definitely see a comparison about being back home versus being in college. College was also very not linear. I came in with an expectation. It was a lot different than that. I mean, I loved it. Don't get me wrong. But a lot of it has to do with being in New York City. So I go to a very non-traditional college. It's NYU. There's no campus. It's very just in the city. They advertise the city's your campus or whatever. But definitely being there had to make me grow up very, very quickly. Because at that point, you're basically like thrown in, you're an adult. Not only are you making your own bed and everything, but you basically have to become this, basically you're advancing 4 years in the future. You're kind of like a working person. You're really living as a New York City resident first, and then a student second.
So you grow faster than, school campus. Is that
yeah, basically, it's like throwing me in the deep end of the pool and asking me to stay afloat.
I see. Interesting. I never thought about that before, because when I was in New York City and I sit in a bar very close to New York University, I see interesting. There's no boundary for the school, right?
There isn't, yeah. So it's a lot of having to do that, and then having to navigate like academics too, while also seeking, because New York City, you have so many opportunities there. So it's basically being able to find a balance between these rigorous academics, which I'm glad high school, I went through the rigorous high school thing, because a lot of it has helped me. I sometimes reference my old like notes from high school, my old essays that I've written, just kind of like look at that, look at how I was back then, try to revise it, basically look at, oh, these were my mistakes back then. Let's make sure I don't make those mistakes, and then go from there. Or just even look at it as another perspective on learning too.
I see. I see. Thank you.
It's helped me a lot. Yeah.
Interesting. So when you look back your high school life in HCPSS, do you have any advice for the school system, where they can improve, where they can change from a student perspective?
I honestly think we need to incorporate deeper conversations about like mental health, diversity, racism, just being able to talk about like these sensitive topics in a safe space. I was granted a luxury where I had teachers who I was very, very close with. I was very close with all my teachers, but they always gave me a safe space to be able to talk out real issues with them regarding mental health, how I felt about some of my classmates, and just some of the actions that they were doing. I was able to have that safe space, but I wish that we could kind of like implement these deep conversations at a younger age rather than just at high school, because to spark the conversation at a young age, obviously at that time your brain is obviously still developing, so a lot of kids are still learning things, and if they learn these topics about like inclusion and mental health and all these things, they actually will be able to implement it and incorporate it throughout their whole journey as they become adults too. There's one thing my family and I do. We kind of go back to Anne Arundel County because it's so close, and we kind of teach kindergartners about like the Chinese culture and everything. And basically we do this because it kind of helps them install a sense of multiculturalism. So we teach them, we kind of want them to be aware of other people's backgrounds, to a point where these kids learn as they grow up to see people for who they are and accept people's cultures and backgrounds, to understand that there's so many different people, and until actually like understand who they are so that they can meet more people with brilliant ideas, brilliant backgrounds, brilliant talents and stuff like that.
I see. Thanks for bringing that up. I think for the school system, it's important to kind of include that diversity inclusion and talk about some other difficult topics like racism, right?
Yeah.
The students are young, then they kind of build the foundation for them to deal with the differences, right?
Exactly.
Embrace others. So that's so important.
Yeah, and it's making sure that as long as we build a good foundation for everyone, at that point we can kind of like hash out differences at a young age, at an earlier age when people are actually still developing their ideology. Because I think as like the public school system, it's like at that point it becomes a responsibility. We're producing, or you guys are in a way, are producing the citizens of the future, the next generation of people. And we need to cultivate these minds so that they do become productive citizens and good and inclusive citizens for basically the next society.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have any closing remarks?
I think I'm good. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for the audience. And I really appreciate you come back to Dr. Chao's YouTube channel. We'll continue to interview our high school graduates. Some of them just graduated, some graduated some time ago, like Jessica, who graduated in last year and in college already. Jessica, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, bye-bye.